It's highly on video time. In this video, I'm going to talk about letters of intent versus statements of use. Take a closer look at the Thomas Healy laugh, because it has occurred for a second time. An updated diagram and doing a comparison of definitions from last year's DEF 14A document with this year's. This is a log of HYLN applying for a trademark for the word ERX. The trademark office looked at it and say, hey, could you give us a statement of use that the ERX is actually being used? And one of the things you can do is apply for an extension. Hold on, wait a minute, we're still making it. And you can do this up to 5 times, and each extension allows for 6 months of leeway to provide a statement of use or an intent to use. And they're on the 5th one, even though it's wound down. As of April 4th of 2024, they filed for a statement of use extension for the 5th time to trademark the word ERX, and they have 6 months to show the trademark office that the ERX is actually being used. Fast forward to the Carno. They apply for a patent for the Carno, and the trademark office, not a patent, but a trademark for the Carno, and they said, show us where the Carno is being used. The same sort of thing is happening, and they just did the first extension for this trademark to give them time to show that the generator is actually being used. This is some speculation with the target markets, but we see that there are 3 letters of intent. That's a good start, because with the ERX, they never got around to the letters of intent. But there is a new use case over on the right-hand side, and it says mobility and has a ship anchor on it, and it has marine, but there's no customer listed under that. And I know one thing with the Carno is that there is an existing kind of connection with the Office of Naval Research, but buying technology doesn't automatically get you in with automatically acquiring the customer with it. So I'm going to simplify this diagram and just remove mobility, because there's no customer under it. And now we're down to 3. In the middle is waste gas with a letter of intent with Detmar Logistics. And we've seen this before with the ERX. Detmar Logistics it looked like a customer that was actually using their product, and it was doing real work, hauling real loads with the ERX, and it's almost like a showcase customer. Is that all they're there to do is to showcase the ERX? And did that actually pan out? And it didn't, because the market conditions, it was a weak freight market. The market conditions weren't not ideal. So I'm going to simplify this diagram even further. And now we've got just 2 markets remaining. EV charging with GT leasing, and there's indicates that there's a letter of intent there. That's appears to be positive. And then there's prime power with no blue check mark on it at all. So let's take a look at the EV charging, and what better way to do that is with taking a kind of a close look of Thomas Healy and how he responds to a certain question. On the left is the first laugh heard around the world as coined by I Squared. And the host of What the Truck asked Healy, so people from Discord want to know when the deliveries of the ERX truck are coming. On the very right-hand side is a recent interview with Andreas, and he's asking, when can we see the first mobile truck charger? Both of these are asking of when are you going to deliver this product? How does Healy respond? With the What the Truck interview, instantaneously there's a chuckle. On the Carno interview, the video to the right, there is a more pronounced laugh, but that occurs about 13 seconds later. It's kind of like you're being asked an uncomfortable question and you're just trying to lighten up the mood or blow off steam. Now, the interesting thing is both of these have similar characteristics. Is with the What the Truck interview, he gestures to something outside of the room through a window. He's pointing at the Carno generators. He's not talking about the ERX. He's completely just temporarily pushed the conversation out of the room to something else. And that occurs within 13 seconds after the question. And on the most recent interview, he's pointing out of the window and he's actually pointing at an EV charger, which is related to the question. But that same thing is kind of happening where he's pointing or gesturing to something outside of the room through a window. And this is kind of stretching with speculation, but you have to keep in mind that he already knows privately what's happening in the works. And as you listen to him, if you take something out of context, there's kind of a clue given of what's going on. Within 40 seconds approximately of asking both of those questions on What the Truck, he mentions in context is that when they sell an ERX truck, they hand over keys and the drivers are running them in their daily operations. If you take it out of context, someone's handing over the keys. Who's handing over the keys? What are those keys and who are they being handed to? On the video to the right, within about 40 seconds, he mentions in context that GTL Leasing is going to be handling setting up the Carno generator with mobile charging. If you take that statement out of context, things that others are going to take on. What things are they going to take on, and who are the others? The others is not HYLN, it's someone else. That leaves HYLN with one opportunity, and that's prime power. There's no check mark with a letter of intent around it, but we do know one thing is that there's a chief commercial officer that specializes in data centers, and that's one of the verticals of prime power. and he left Cummins to come to HYLN. Updating this diagram that I have, I've added Morrow Sodali to it. They've appeared March 29th, 2024. And if you kind of follow who they're controlled by, it's by TPG Incorporated. That stands for Texas Pacific Group. They're a private equity firm, and one of the platforms that they have is TPG Growth. TPG Growth has an 80% controlling stake of Morrow Sodali, and Morrow Sodali is a proxy solicitor. And they've appeared into this picture with HYLN. This is a diagram I created mapping out the decision that they made in November of 2023. And one of those verticals is dealing with private equity partners about a possible sale or merger with the ERX powertrain segment. And there's a decision that was arrived, and the board supported the decision to wind down the ERX powertrain business. That's publicly known, but is there another decision that we don't know about that was made in private with private equity partners, strategic partners, and industry experts? The strategic partners and private equity partners, there was a question of should there be a sale or a merger, and whatever decision was made, the board supported that decision. We know that the ERX was wound down, and that's publicly known, but is there an ongoing private decision that was made that is not publicly known yet? With the upcoming proxy vote for 2024, there's actually a red flag next to it saying, please read important information regarding this meeting agenda. And the only hint that they give is a note, such other business as may properly come before the meeting or adjournment thereof. So there's something going on in the background privately that the public doesn't know about yet. And if I were to compare the DEF 14A, the definitions section, in the previous year, the first four are accounts, applicable law, board, and change in control. In this year's DEF 14A, the first definitions, the four of them, acquiring entity, acquired entity, acquired entity plan, adoption date. I think we know what's going on here, but we have to wait and see what really happens. That's it for this video, and of course, thanks for watching.